Hello, welcome to the 1kTour. You are the 1k tourists. I am the Queen. This is Capt Underpants.
Present.
We are going to use this video to talk you through the 6 cars we have on this challenge. Just to recap, we have 6 cars, 6 teams. The cars were a budget of £1,000 or less, including modifications. You join us here on day 3 in beautiful Scotland. Good evening. Welcome to the 1kTour. This is the first video where we're going to introduce our fans as 1k tourists, because every YouTuber is doing it. Welcome 1k tourists. I'm Alex.
I'm Charlie, otherwise known as Capt Underpants.
And I'm otherwise known as the Queen, which is fantastic. It's really funny. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a quick video talking you through the 6 cars that we have lined up here. And we're going to start with the Jaguar. Charlie, would you like to kick it off, please?
Absolutely. So this is Team Touring in Total Style's lovely Jaguar. This is a 2.5 litre V6. It was sold to them as a 3 litre, I believe, so they might have been slightly missold there. They paid £600 for this car, which all told is a pretty solid piece of kit.
Yeah.
In terms of modifications, they've been relatively light aesthetically. So we've got this black stripe feature which runs from the front grille, which looks like it might be off of a Weber barbecue. Runs up across, no black stripes on the top, they didn't have enough material. Runs down the rear of the vehicle and finishes there. 1kTour official roundels front and rear.
Beautiful.
But the most important thing really to mention about this vehicle is the detail of the exhaust. So standard exhaust is a very quiet, very refined, very smooth sounding bit of equipment, but what they've done here is sawn all of that off, got rid of all of the refinement, and they put a straight through pipe that comes straight off the downpipes there, out to the left, and we've got a double-ended exhaust, double-ended exhaust there that exits out and burns every pedestrian's ankles within a 2 metre distance of the car. I think the guys are pretty happy with it. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's obnoxiously loud. It suits the owners very well because it's a beautiful, comfortable armchair. Just coming to the rear very quickly, my favourite feature of this car is the factory-fitted parking sensors, of which 2 have been fingered. I believe that Tom, one of the team, actually did it himself, which is nice. But no, I think it suits them well. It's comfortable, it's quite uneconomical, it's like a big armchair. It's done a lot of miles this trip, so it's probably been better than ours. But
yeah, I think in terms of performance, it's probably slightly lacking compared to what they were expecting. Yeah. It does, from what I can tell, and I haven't actually driven. This is the only car I think from the lineup I haven't driven. I haven't driven the BMW 3 Series there, but everyone's driven a 3 Series. Let's face it. They're having to give it quite a lot of welly to keep up with the pack, but when they do get on cam and when the thing livens up, I think, well, it certainly sounds amazing.
It sounds incredible. Yeah. It sounds absolutely amazing. I like it a lot. I've just driven it about an hour ago, and it's just a big wafty armchair. And it's a lot of car for the money, 600 quid.
A lot of car
for a lot of Jag. Yeah, I'd like those seats in my lounge, to be quite frank. Let's take you over to the Volvo C70. This is the Chuckle Brothers offering. All 6 of these cars were revealed about a month ago. 5 of them were bought well in advance. The Chuckle Brothers bought it the morning of the reveal. They went to a used car lot and went, can we buy a car for 500 quid? So they got it. They don't have a V5, if my memory serves me correctly.
I didn't know that.
No, they don't have a V5. They may be the owners, they may not, they don't know.
So registration document, sorry, the registration document. They don't officially own the car, I don't think.
No. She is a 2.5 petrol 5-cylinder T5, which would sound amazing if they drilled more holes in the exhaust. Matt only drilled 1. There's various modifications to note with this one. Notably a beautiful black grille, genuine fake carbon fibre on this one, and some beautiful side sills, which make braking bad because they move the air away, which is quite a challenge. The roof is currently on. It took about 25 minutes to put the roof on because it's broken. You have to use a screwdriver and 3-4 people?
Yeah, 3 people minimum to remove the roof from this car, which I believe isn't exactly as the manufacturer's intended.
Out the factory.
It does require the use of, like Alex said, a battery drill, and when the battery on the drill goes flat, you essentially either have a roof that's up or down or somewhere in between, as we found out. Yeah, I think probably aesthetically this is the most altered car. So Alex was saying about these racing canards, as they're called. These again are genuine fake carbon fibre, and the issue that occurred here with the vortex that was being created, sucking air or directing air away from the brakes, which meant that they did have quite a savage overheating incident. is something that cannot now be rectified because these have been riveted on. So they're not a removable item. This is something that is going to be here for the remainder of the duration of this car's life, which is probably about another 24 to 48 hours by the way they're driving. One of the, for the tech fans out there, I think this is something worth mentioning. Before we come back to the details of the bonnet, this car is, as we mentioned, a 5-cylinder inline turbo, and it has an aftermarket boost gauge attached, which I believe has been ripped out of one of the lads' own Lotuses at home. If we take a little close shot into here, it's essentially a bunch of wires that makes the car look like it's been hot wired. So you've got a little vacuum hose that comes back to here, and a boost controller, which I believe is this very Alibaba looking device here. I'm assured this is actually worth quite a lot of money, but they at any one time can decide they need to achieve a bit of a hairy overtake. They can knock that boost up and they go flying along. And I have just driven this, and the turbo lag is like nothing I've ever experienced ever before. I'd imagine it's somewhere on a par with a Group B rally car, but once it gets going, it really does get going. Alex, I think you should describe the bonnet details a little bit more. It's
I will do.
Motif.
Yeah, I mean, just while we're here, I'll come back to the bonnet because we need to take the viewers to the rear. The 1K tourists, come over here.
Well, the rear, yeah.
This spoiler that's been fabricated out of a dado rail and real genuine fake carbon fibre that's flaking off because in the wind it does this and breaks. As you can see, it's very secure, and also this used to be an aerial, but Matt snapped it, so it's now a droopy penis. Lots of stickers. The thinking behind this was he bought lots of stickers and thought he'd cover the car, but then he got to here and run out and realised he didn't have enough, so we just have stickers on.
I think this is an interesting shopping list actually. So you've got teammate, I don't know what this is, all-wheel drive club, interesting.
It's front-wheel drive.
K&N, I don't know if there's any K&N products on this vehicle.
Front-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah, it is a front-wheel drive vehicle. We've got some other interesting bits and bobs that assumably they're going to purchase at some point in time. Good luck purchasing Arsenal. And what's this we've got here? Oh, this is just to remind them the H pattern gear shift.
They don't have because it's an automatic.
Because it's an automatic.
The other thing while we're here is this is a Volvo Targa because the roof it has an air filter here.
Yeah.
As you can see, there's probably what, a 2-inch gap where the air can go in and out, which is good for circulation. You'll note as well, I can finger that. In fact, we can both finger that in unison, which is nice. There's these two things here, which is the rollover hoop system. They got activated yesterday, and one of them, the cover's missing.
Video available online.
We have video available online. The danger with that is now they won't activate again, apparently. So
really?
Apparently not. That's what I'm told. Might be complete nonsense.
I think they might be spring-loaded, but
okay.
It's safe.
I've got my hand out. The other thing to note is this car's clearly had a lot of water inside it with the roof off.
Yeah, it did actually come with a built-in water feature, I believe.
The Alcantara could be described as soggy and chlamydia-y. A little.
Yeah, it smells.
It smells and it feels like a disease.
I've just noticed the battery cut-off switch here, which isn't connected to anything.
No. Good. They don't round. Spoiler. So the Volvo.
A few more details of the rear end. We've got the Evo 69 battery fit there. We've got the drag reduction system. Genuine drag reduction system. We've got the STI and the P1 labels here. The towing eye, which I believe is pointing down to something in this direction. I think the exhaust might well double up as a towing system. And of course, Drift King, because I mean, what front-wheel drive cabriolet isn't a drift machine, frankly.
This is the king of the one-tyre fire.
It is indeed, yeah.
It stinks of rubber.
Permanently. Let's quickly just jump back to the front of this.
Yeah.
At the front we've got some additional aesthetic details. Going from the smallest to the largest, we've got an indicator of where exactly the wipers are, which is always very handy. This indicating where the wash function is. Unfortunately, I think for lightweighting and for some sort of aerodynamic reason, they've been removed. Oh, is it another drag reduction thing? Fine. Obviously the mandatory roundel, a couple of other sort of miscellaneous stickers, but for me, and I don't know about you, Alex, this here. Yeah. The Ferrari, they have got some poster paints and very crudely masked the bonnet up and drawn their own Ferrari badge, and it's even signed. I assume that's the builder. Is that the engine builder?
I believe that was the engine builder from Sweden, flew over specifically.
From Sweden? It wasn't Italian?
To contradict his own work.
Okay.
Because he wanted to work for Ferrari.
Oh, I understand.
That's what I heard.
But the prancing horse there looks more like an inbred dromedary.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Or a unicorn that's been in quite a severe car accident.
Yeah, a unicorn that's been rear-ended by another unicorn.
Or rear-ended by the Volvo with its lack of brakes.
Yeah. So another thing we noticed about this car, Alex, I think you were there last night, was that the rear tyres don't necessarily face in the same direction.
No.
One of them is pointing slightly off to the right, which is the right-hand one. So it does have a tendency to sort of crab around slightly when it's under any sort of load. What did they pay for this car?
I think it was a monkey.
It was a monkey. It was a good £500. A nice round £500.
Pounds.
I think it was discounted from
800?
800
From memory?
which seems, I would say a bargain, but there isn't a single thing on that car that works as it was intended to.
Or feels not dirty.
So that's the Volvo.
We're going to introduce Lewis's 328 CI straight six. She's a 1999 V. She's black. She's really boring. He paid £1 for it, which is amazing.
This is a bit of a spurious situation here.
Controversy.
Lewis is a car dealer, and I think he might have got one of his clients slightly inebriated at a dinner party, dinner meeting, I don't know what it was, but essentially he bamboozled someone into selling this to him for £1. But anyway, it's all in the name of charity, so we're happy to allow him to have that one victory. So this is a perfectly lovely Repmobile that has been bought for one of the Queen's pounds.
One single pound.
I mean, I shouldn't put my hands on it, that's frowned upon.
There will be him out later with a Jimmy cloth trying to get it off. It's a really nice car, but compared to what we've been through already and what we'll go through later, pretty boring.
There isn't much to say about this.
Yeah. It goes sideways.
It's a BMW, it has got a limited slip differential.
It sounds nice, it's got a slippy diff, which is good. It's got a sunroof, sunshine roof.
I think the best thing about this car is the driver.
Yes, it's a good driver. We have successfully managed to get grapes into this roof from our car on the M25. That was good news.
The other feature, I think, is the Alpina boot spoiler.
Alpina. Genuine Alpina.
Genuine Alpina. This was an aftermarket fix, but it probably was some sort of option somewhere along the line.
It's got damage there.
And it has been actually quite well attached to the boot lip there.
It looks nice, yeah.
There really isn't much more to say. It was £1, and it's very, very boring.
It's very dull. That's the Beamer.
We have arguably the prettiest car on the 1kTour.
I agree.
It is a lovely looking bit of kit.
I agree.
This is the Z3, and this belongs to Team Captain Callous, Captain Cautious, Phil and Will. It's I actually picked this car up myself. There was a bit of a problem with collection with Will, so I went to Southampton to pick this up. Initially it didn't drive amazingly, but once the tyres were inflated and a few other little bits and bobs were charged up on the car, it's actually made a really nice car, I think.
Yeah, I mean, arguably this is, I'd say, the nicest car on the tour. She's a 2-litre straight six. It's really quite gutless. It sounds nice, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most gutless six cylinders I've ever come across.
Ever made in the history of time. In terms of aesthetics, it's tatty. We've got quite a lot of bodywork issues. The wheel's a bit mangled, needs a mirror, but it's got the wide body kit, which is extra for BMW fans. I'm told that's a good thing. If you'd like to come inside, it's got some fantastic stickers that I put on there, just to confirm where the horn is, you know. Internally, it's really clean. It's got a 6-speed gearbox, but only a 5-speed gearbox. Could we do that again? I fucked that up.
Yep.
Sorry. And the beat wasn't funny either.
Just go from inside. Say
Okay.
it was funny.
So from inside, we can see that the.
Again, sorry, I'm talking all over you. Go.
Okay, so let's move inside the Z3. Now we can see that there's a genuine M Sport, which is after this car, which makes these chaps an M Sport wanker. An M Sport gear stick, which suggests the car has 6 gears. It does not. It has 5. It also has symbols showing that you can use the horn with a beep beep. It's really quite clean in there. It's lots of silver going on. They've got a Parrot Bluetooth kit. They've had their tunes on. They've had George Michael going for the last 12, 15 hours.
I think so, yeah.
They look cute in this. I won't lie. Coming to the rear, Charlie.
Coming around to the rear of the car, it's a little bit tatty. Knowing Philip as I do, I'm surprised I didn't touch up these various areas here. So there's quite a lot of cracked pitted paint at the top of the bumper here. And there's a blue mark. Looks like a sort of a Toyota blue on the left-hand side there. I'm really quite surprised I didn't get rid of that. But then, again, it's like the other BMW, it's pretty much standard. They really haven't made too much effort on the car. They did pay £1,000, so this is the top end of the budget, but I'm assured that this car retails around about the £2,500 to £3,000 mark if it was all together. But yeah, it really is quite a poor effort in terms of what they've done to the car since purchase.
And it needs a new bumper.
Does need a new bumper,
Quite badly.
front and back.
Wonderful.
And a bonnet.
Excellent.
And a wing. And a sill.
And some skirt.
And some wheels.
And a mirror.
And some front brakes.
Probably did a new steering wheel.
The roof mechanism doesn't work. Doesn't work at all.
No.
So
Good
I
use
think
of
they've probably paid over the odds in all honesty.
Okay, let's introduce Orlando's offering, which is an MGZS 2.5 V6. Orlando is the sort of driving force behind the charity of this year's 1kTour. It's quite an emotional sort of theme behind it, so he went all out with the stickers. Got an incredible job done in the Golf livery, which looks amazing. It's had loads of attention, this car. He's also put the Just Giving links all around the car, and some old style sort of racing Texaco stickers. This is a really nice car, actually, isn't it?
Really is.
He's had some work done to the exhaust. It sounds Lamborghini-esque, Ferrari.
I think it sounds like, you'll close your eyes, forget what it looks like, you could come to be at Goodwood Revival when this thing goes past you.
Sounds incredible.
It's phenomenal. Talk you through what has been done to the exhaust system. So initially he had a rear decat, there was still a silencer in the way, so he wasn't 100% pleased with how the car was sounding, so took it to his local garage in Brighton. They took out the other silencer, so now we have a straight through right from the manifold all the way to the back, and it does sound phenomenal. And interestingly, I drove this car about half an hour or an hour ago. There's no drone inside, there is no real raspy noise inside, which I was really quite surprised about, because the noise it makes from the outside is phenomenal. By far and away the loudest car on the tour,
without question.
And I think for me, the car of the tour.
I agree. If we go inside really quickly, the previous owner was a lovely gentleman. I think his name was Trevor. I think Trevor's still in the car because it smells of Trevor. I would assume Trevor was a slightly older gentleman.
A lovely man, sure.
A lovely chap. Now, looking at the door here, so this door here, bit of fabric, bit of switchgear. That door there is the racing version, stripped out, lightweight. You know, he doesn't need to sit there, he doesn't have a passenger, because it's all landed on his own, this stuff. So yeah, no door handle, so if there's a fire on that section of the car, he'll have to either put on his high-vis jacket, use a fire hydrant, or just die, which isn't ideal. So yeah, inside, quite smelly, but practical. I have my suitcase in here because I can't fit it in my car. You have your suitcase in here because we can't fit it in my car.
My suitcase and most of my belongings that don't fit in our car are in this car.
Well, in this car.
Also about the rear of the car, this has been used as the tea tray so far after day 3 of the tour.
Yes, it has.
Unfortunately today someone did leave a cup of coffee on there, and it's now sort of a feature of the rear of the car.
Orlando gave it the beans, and the beans gave themselves to Orlando. Yeah, we like this car a lot. It's just everything from here is hilarious. It pops and bangs like nothing I've ever heard.
It looks correct. It looks in keeping. Even the exhaust outlet, it just works. It fits. It all comes together nicely. And I think probably the best bit about this car is the sticker that I donated to Orlando myself. You have been forever taken.
You absolutely have. Although you probably haven't, because it's really not that far.
Not that fast at all.
No.
It's a 180 brake.
Naturally aspirated, and there's a high likelihood that the camber's going to snap and the engine will explode, because there's no camber history on this one, but it's made 900 miles and it's fine. So we're happy.
Right, so let's talk about the MR2, the Mr. 2. We are a little bit proud of this car. This is our car for the 1kTour. I think a good choice for the tour. The soft tops, particularly with the weather we've been having so far,
Beautiful weather.
are the right choice.
Yep.
We wanted to go reliable, so we went Japanese. Tell us about that.
Okay, so we bought this car a month and a half ago, and my good friend Charlie here is an exuberant driver. We had a Sunday morning drive with some friends of ours, and we found a bridge and bounced off the rev limiter for about 20 seconds, and the engine kind of ate itself a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's developed what's technically known as a death rattle, although it hasn't blown up yet. We don't really know why. It should have blown up, and it hasn't, which is great news. We'll come back to that. I'll talk you through the vinyl. So Charlie here spent hours of his life, not with his girlfriend, working on the MR2. So headlights were disgusting, they've been cleaned up and fitted with Chinese spec retina burners.
Yeah, these are the rest of the burners 1000. These were an eBay purchase. Quite a few eBay purchases on this car. We'll go into that later.
Yeah.
We don't want to spend too long telling you about all the details, but these are extremely bright LED headlights. You basically can't drive this car at night because every single person coming in the opposite direction flashes you to let you know that you're on full beams. You then give them full beams, it does nothing.
And they hate you.
Yeah.
They are, however, apparently road legal, which is excellent.
They're very definitely not road legal.
They're road legal. So we'll just go back quickly to the vinyls and the stickers. So as you'll see, quite obviously we've got a roundel here and a stripe there. It was supposed to be number 96. We got it wrong and it's number 69. I don't know the connotation, but it's there. It's fine. A few little extra bits. So the bumper here, as you can see, a little bit dull. This is because we had a test phase of this car on a closed circuit in the rain. A bit of this, a bit more of this, a bit of power, and then a bush happened, and the car was crashed.
We have reported back to Toyota.
They're not happy.
They're happy to reimburse us for all the R&D that we've done, which
Hours.
is fine with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, all told, it's kind of come together okay.
It looks great. It looks great.
Other things to mention about the front end. We didn't want to impair our intake for air into the radiator here, so what we did was fitted a stick-on number plate, which is perfectly, again, road legal.
Very Le Mans.
Few little scuffs and cracks here, so going back to the little collision we had yesterday, which is also available online again, you'll see exactly what happened.
Watch that.
There.
It's funny.
There is a Rolls-Royce badge here. It's a long story, but essentially this is an eBay purchase. We wanted to completely transform this from being an MR2 into something that looked like something else. So it's now a Rolls-Royce.
So far, we've been on the trip 3 days. We've had 3 people go, oh, is that a nice Rolls-Royce? And 4 people have thought it's a Porsche, including a chap today who has a 911 who went, oh, that's a nice Boxster.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's
a Toyota.
He's an enthusiast.
We've got a little sticker here, Gas 305, who are a great garage that we use. They did some work for us. Sliding down to the door, we've got a stickered up for Le Mans sticker. It's not going to Le Mans, we just thought it was funny. Now, my co-pilot here gave us names. His name is Capt Underpants. There's a story behind that. My name is Seymour Butts. Why is that, Charlie?
Well, officially your team name is the Queen.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember what the Queen's surname was, so I went with another name entirely, which had similar connotations.
Fair enough.
Seymour Butts, I think, is more than appropriate.
Okay, so moving around to the back, we have, I think this is funny, a never been sticker. The rear end's had quite a lot of work, so Charlie spent hours repainting the crash bar, removing the heat shields, making it lighter, repainting this section here. Might not pick up on film, but the crash bar is quite noticeably damaged.
Big crash.
There was a crash. Have a look online, it's funny, my face gets hit by walkie-talkie. So we might need to change that, and we don't know if it's affected anything else. More stickers here. Charlie, talk us through the exhaust.
The exhaust is no longer there, so we decided that as standard this car just wasn't going to be loud enough, racy enough, raughty enough for the trip. So what I decided to do was have our local garage completely remove the stock silencer, reposition the secondary cap, and have a completely sort of cat-back straight system coming out there, which has meant the car is slightly down on low-end power, but up on top-end noise. And it sounds great. It pops, it bangs, it rumbles, it rattles a lot. That's another story.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, the exhaust sounds best above 3,500 revs.
Yeah, which we can't go to.
And why is that, Charlie?
Because I broke the car.
But you haven't broken the car, but you have broken the car.
Well, I've made the car sound awful.
Yeah,
but
and just tried to destroy the engine.
We are currently pretty much as far north as you can go in mainland Scotland.
We have nursed it here.
And it's here. And it will make it back.
In terms of oil consumption, she's doing a litre every 200 or 300 miles-ish.
Roughly thereabout, which I think is within manufacturer guidelines.
It's fine. It likes oil. Oil is good. Another thing to mention is these alloys are grey, professionally repaired by young Charlie.
Yep.
We bought this car for £750, bargain of the century, with Toyo proxies, and it's got a slippy disc, so it is quite a bit of a drifty machine.
It's a drift machine. It's very, very flighty in the wet, as I found out to my peril. And I don't really make any apologies for the fact that we're talking more about this car, even though it is our own, because there's more to talk about. It's an exciting car. It's the perfect car for a tour. It's the perfect car for the 1K
It's
tour.
brilliant.
We've done the most to it.
We love it.
I'm very proud of it.
Love it.
We love it. It's the Mr. 2.
She's also unbelievably comfortable.
Very comfortable.
How long have we driven? About 15 hours in total. Passenger, driver,
Probably
passenger.
more than that.
We've got cushions. It's warm. Everyone else was cold today. We put the heater on. I put a jumper on. Took my jumper off. It was too hot.
There you go.
And it's a Porsche. It's a Rolls-Royce Boxster.
Rolls-Royce, yeah.
Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Mr. 2. There's a song about this, which we'll publish, and a poem. It's a good poem.